Live Monday, June 15th. And our topic today is that there are severe consequences that come along with active addiction. Keyword active addiction. So addicts go through a whole lot of stuff, from health to financial to legal to mental consequences, financial consequences. A lot of different consequences come along when we choose to be active in our addiction. And I say the word when we choose to be. There's a time in this rodeo where we're not really choosing to be active. It's got a hold of us. And I know what that's all about. And I know the battle that it is to fight to get to the other side. And it is quite a battle. You've got to put on your armor and get ready, because I look at it like it's faith or fear. You're either in faith or you're in fear. And when you're in fear, anxiety, depression are two number one causes of addiction. They kick it in because we're typically so disturbed with our feelings and our emotions and what we're going through in our life that we pick up something to release the pain. And it can become a habit and it can take over. And next thing you know, you're totally addicted to alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, food, whatever. It's all the same. The underlying feelings are the same. So people that are going through anxiety and depression can kick it in just because you have activated it, you've crossed the line, you've gone too far, and now there's no turning back. And once you've turned into an addict, or your addiction has reared its ugly head, then the whole key is for you to embrace and accept that you are somebody who cannot pick up alcohol, drugs, gamble, whatever the vice is, that particular vice, that once you open the gate, once you stimulate your brain with it, it takes over. You're no longer responsible. You're no longer making the right choices. You're no longer showing up and doing what you're supposed to. That's addiction. Addiction is when something's controlling you rather than you're controlling it. And it takes a lot sometimes for us to get into acceptance, and we can stay in denial for years if we don't have skills and tools to know how to overcome it, battle the beast, win, and fight for your life, because you are worth it. So today the topic is talking about the consequences and how severe they are. And sometimes it's consequences alone, like severe consequences that can get a person to be scared straight. I mean, if it's legal consequences, think about the legal consequences that you're going to go through. Well, first of all, you're going to have attorney's fees, because if you're active in your addiction, then you're doing things that you wouldn't normally do, such as possibly stealing or being violent, abusing people, abusing privileges. You could be stealing from your company, stealing from your family, stealing from friends, stealing from businesses, stores, whatever, and you're going to end up in jail. So you're going to have legal problems, and that's in itself, there might be some people who that was enough for them to stop. No addict is going to tell you there's only one way to stop addiction. You're never going to hear somebody say there's only one way, because the beautiful part is that there's many solutions, and it works. Whatever works for you is what matters. So you do you and find the solution that's going to work for you, because that's important. It's life or death. And I'm early today, so thank you for joining me. I typically do my speech around 5:30, but I'm going to start doing these earlier on Monday. So legally, you could misuse prescription drugs and find yourself in a boatload of trouble. You could be in and out of courts and having to turn your life over to the power of a judge to decide where you belong. Sometimes you might end up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you might be accused of a crime that you didn't even commit. So that's a very severe legal consequence when active in your addiction. You might be gambling your money away, your mortgage away, borrowing money, and then you're going to end up being sued. You never know. So legal consequences are huge. Another consequence is financial consequences. When we are active in our addiction, we have to supply our habit, and it can be very, very expensive, especially if it's gambling or drugs, alcohol, because we're always wanting more. And it can really do a number on our finances to the point where we're bouncing checks. We're no longer paying our bills. I mean, this is how insane it becomes. And never in a million years did I ever think that I personally would stop being responsible with staying up on my bills, because throughout my 20s and 30s, I really never had that problem. But the next thing you know, in my late 30s, I'm actually choosing to feed my addiction over paying my bills. That's where it takes you to pure insanity, where you lose responsibility, you lose your mind, and you're not doing the next right thing. And so it becomes extremely expensive, and it can be a lifetime of bailing yourself out of a horrible habit. So the financial consequences, you can lose your home, you could be homeless, you can lose your car. If you lose your job because of your addiction, you're not getting an income anymore. So those are some more serious consequences. I see the chat's on, so if any of you have anything you'd like to chat about, please feel free to go over to the right side and put any questions or comments in the chat. My name is Kathy McKnight. You can learn more about me on my website, kathymcknightinc.com. You can also schedule a discovery session if you have something weighing on your mind that you need to talk about. We can see if I'm a fit for you, if there's something I can do to help you. And also my website does have blogs on different topics to help you become healthier in your mind, body, and soul. So thank you for joining my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And I'll get back into the topic of consequences that come along with addiction. We've got family and friends that are suffering because of our bad behavior, because of our medical condition. It is a disease within the brain, and once it's triggered and kicked in, it's quite a little ride to overcome and battle it and beat it. But you can do it, because we're all the same, and if one person can do it, anybody can do it. There are solutions such as rehabs. There's counseling, therapy, psychiatrists, psychologists, coaches, 12-step programs, church, surrendering to Jesus, medications, group sessions. So don't give up. There are solutions, and one of them will work for you. So just find the one that works. So family and friends, consequences. Well, you're going to isolate. You're pretty much now at a point of shame and guilt where you don't want to face your family and your friends. You're blaming your family and your friends because now you've become a victim when you're active in your addiction. You're no longer accountable, and you're not seeing your truth. So you're blaming, you're pointing your finger, you're angry, you're full of resentment. So you are pushing your loved ones away. You are harming them emotionally. You are scaring them. And on top of it, you're doing all this damage to yourself. So with family and friends, there's many, many consequences. You could end up totally lonely. You have broken all trust and all respect for yourself. Therefore, you've lost the respect of your family and your friends. You're humiliating yourself. You're humiliating your family. On and on and on. You're just continuously betraying people that love you. You're betraying yourself. So these are things that the more you understand and keep them at the forefront, remembering the risk you're taking when you're gambling with your life and you're playing with fire, which is to entertain romance, the addiction, the thing that's taking you down, the very thing that's destroying you. Anytime you gamble with picking it up, contemplating it, it takes you down the road of bad decision making, and you could end up losing your family and friends for life if you don't turn it around. People will only be able to handle so much, and if you end up in jail, you're pretty much forgotten, especially if you've committed some serious crimes. You may lose them for life. So it's so important to remember what could happen. It's so important for you to play the tape in your mind, having done it before, having seen that you still get the same thing over and over, that insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is insanity. And that's what happens when we're active in our addiction. So family and friends need to be valued, but more importantly, you have to value yourself first. You have to fly, which is first love yourself. And I do a fly series to help people get there, because there is a way. I have a book, Stop Holding Onto Your Shift. And this is, the F is very small, and this is the step guide on how to overcome your addiction, which is basically going to be the journey of discovery, self-analyzation, which helps you uncover those sticking points that are blocking you from being your healthiest, happiest version of yourself. They're in your way, they're limited beliefs, and it's time to squash them and toss them and live your best life right now. Please, again, set up a discovery session if I can help you, or if you have a loved one in trouble and you need to talk, feel free to schedule a session, because I would love to help you. There is definitely an answer to solve your crisis. In my book, we go through the steps, and it helps you to really see the pieces that are in your way. So that's why I have this book, and you can also get my book on Amazon.com. Stop Holding Onto Your Shift. And it has the secret sauce in there that really is the main piece to the puzzle to what it is. Like the anxiety and the depression within us, we overcome that. We override it. We surf the waves, and things change when we change. So you have to do the work. You can't get the results. There's no shortcut. You don't get it through osmosis. You have to do the same work that everybody else has done to get to the other side of being anxious and depressed to being happy, whole, fulfilled, and full of self-respect, self-love. And that you deserve. So another consequence to addiction is our health. The health is huge. I mean, our health is our mind, body, and our soul. So it entails every bit of us from the inside out. And the consequences with your health are huge. I mean, if you're active in an addiction where it's food addiction or drug or alcohol, then you could have obesity, heart disease, diabetes. You could have brain disease, because drugs will destroy your brain. And sometimes you're not going to recover from that. I mean, they can cause permanent brain damage, which is going to cost you with getting jobs and feeling comfortable in social settings and all kinds of issues there. So your health is your wealth, and you have to put your health first. You have to care about your health, and the addiction is there to destroy you. It's there to kill you. The number one consequence is death. And so you have to take care of your health step by step, one day at a time, keeping it simple, just knowing the answers of how to overcome negative emotions with positive solutions. So when you're feeling depressed, anxious, angry, sad, resentful, worried, you need to know what to do right then and there to flip the script in your brain. You train your brain to overcome that negative thought with a positive thought. You have to know who you are, positive affirmations, and you have to eliminate the false beliefs, the lies. That is the devil. And just you knowing that that's the demon, that's the disease, that's the ego. Think of that as a process of edging God out. Okay, all those are feeding the fear. And then if you're in faith, your health will boom because you believe in yourself. You believe you are what God says you are. You get your identity strictly from God's opinion, not human beings. And you do the work for yourself to improve your self-esteem and your self-worth. And once, it's like acting as if you keep doing it, and it becomes very real. It becomes your reality. And you do have confidence, and you do love yourself, and you realize who you are, and you're not going to let anything or anyone get in the way of what you know. Now, there's a time when we're active where we're hopeless, we're stuck, we've been through the ringer, we've caused a lot of damage to ourselves, self-inflicted misery, and then we've caused damage to others, and we're broken, we don't have trust. All these things can be completely healed through doing the work here. in the book. Totally healed to where you have the most incredible, happiest life ever. You feel amazing. Doesn't matter how old you are, what you've been through. I'm living proof. I'm 52 and I am happier and healthier than I've ever been because I chose to take action to take care of myself. And I said, I'm not going down like that. That's not who I am. My kids aren't going to have a mother that's not together. And I stepped up. And you have to do that. You have to take action. You have to step up. You have to walk that walk, grab a hold of a coach or grab a hold of a 12-step program, whatever you need, do something. You might need all of it, which is fine. You'll end up finding exactly what works for you and you'll stick with it. And oh my God, the best is yet to come. You're going to see that all these little miracles just keep happening in your life. Your health, you could have health issues. You could end up with lung cancer. You could end up with chronic back and knee pain if you're overeating and you've got too much weight. But all those things can be reversed. Diabetes can be reversed just from you taking one step at a time, one day at a time, keeping it simple and believing that, seeing the faith, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, knowing that it works. It works. If it worked for them, it'll work for you. You just have to get in your zone, put on your Jesus goggles, your God goggles, your faith goggles, whatever works best for you. Grab a hold of your higher power, grab a hold and start your new journey. And I like the saying is today, is it going to be one day or day one? So health issues that come along with active addiction are, another one is sleep disorder, which is a nightmare. And that causes all kinds of issues in your health. Okay, that causes fat cells to store. It causes you to not be able to lose weight or have transformations. You've got to sleep. Sleep's very important. And you're not going to be able to sleep if you're not eating correctly, if you're not on a routine, and if you're active using medications or foods or gambling. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be worried. Financial issues, divorce. These are all things that contribute to the health issues. So you definitely need to take care of your health by taking action to exercise. And I can actually help you with an action plan where you're committing, and I'm holding you accountable to working out a certain amount of times a week. Also to a specific nutrition plan that's specific to your needs, to your body, in order for you to get the results. And the last one I'm going to talk about is just the mental illness that active addiction can cause. It can definitely do a number on us mentally. Okay, it can make us paranoid, and we can believe things that aren't the case. It can send us into having deeper issues like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. These are things, when you're active with drugs and alcohol, they progress and it takes a hold of you mentally. It can destroy you. You can be full of fear to where you don't trust anybody and you're angry. That's a mental illness, that you're just accusing people of doing things they're not. You're allowing intrusive thoughts to take over. You're believing them. So again, I just want to reiterate that you have a choice. It's fear or faith. Each morning when you wake up, there are things you can do to start your day off very strong, starting with prayer, starting with reading motivational or spiritual readings that instantly center you and totally prepare you for the day. They get your mind right. They get your heart right. You're in peace. You're in faith. You're in love. And you've now got your protective gear on, and nothing is going to come in there because you're with God. You're centered. So you have choices. You can do this. And that is my spiel today on how serious it is, how serious consequences are, and what they do to your life when you're active in your addiction. And on a positive note, the fact that you can turn all of that around just by choosing to take action because you deserve it. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have an awesome evening, and I'll be back next Monday. Peace out.